All right, I'm back. I am bringing this is my I guess let me back up. My mission is to keep informing folks about jumping in this amateur athletic space, okay? And I have another good guest. She and I used to work out at the YMCA, and I don't want any jokes out there, but the YMCA, when you get old, that's when you work out at. For me, when you get old, you work out at the YMCA. I can't do the younger gyms like the crunches and all that other stuff. I just can't do them. But she and I we used to work out at the YMCA, so I'm bringing on Sara Rivas. Sara, good morning. Talk to
Good
me.
morning. Thank you so much for having me. I love that the YMCA is such a community place too. So you don't just have to be about that age thing, but like it was where we got to bring our kids and it felt
Yep.
safe and like they were being loved very well, even when you drop them off to the kid zone. You know what I mean? So
Yep,
it was my start.
yep, and it had all that activity, so that's why YMCA is perfect, so I can get my workout in, I could drop the kids off at whatever their activities they had going on at the Y.
Yeah,
Now I'm a Planet Fitness guy.
it's awesome.
I'm a Planet Fitness that's still just ridiculous, right? Just getting
That's
so
awesome.
old. So I'm a
That's
Planet Fitness
great.
guy.
Well, you're in
But
there.
let's jump right into this. So, tell me about, first of all, how many kids you have, what sports they participate in, and then we'll jump into our topic.
I have 2 boys. My oldest is a senior in high school. He played soccer for a while when he was younger. We got into ice hockey, into the teen years, which has been incredible as Floridians.
Really?
The hockey got, to be a big sport in Tampa Bay, right? The Lightning
Yeah.
shine. My youngest is not as great at organized sports, and so he's always been individual. He's swam. We're trying out pickleball stuff with him right now. He's only 13, but, he wasn't as much of a organized sports team kind of guy, which is interesting part of
Okay.
parenting too, when you have different kids that enjoy different things or thrive in different environments when it comes to athletics too, that individual sport or that team sport and things like that. So
Why is ice hockey taking off here in Florida?
I think that I mean Tampa Bay, the Lightning coming here and doing so well, and
Mhm.
I think it was the mid '90s. I was pretty young, so I wasn't into it yet. I remember I grew up in Orlando, but once we moved here, 2012, 2013.
Mhm.
It was pretty clear that that organization was something special, and so and when they did well, it brought more of the community to the watch parties and the playoff games, and wait a minute, they're winning championships, you know what
Right.
I mean? So, same thing with the Panthers, good on them, you know what I mean? It's cool organizations, but it's just the lure of it is nice for me as a mom because 'cause we're not outside sweating and, having a beer or 2 at the game is actually quite normalized. So, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yes.
It was pretty funny walking in there for, even when he was just learning how to play, it was like, "Oh, this is my place. Like, we're good. Like, we're taking the heat for our sport. That's fantastic. Those baseball moms can have it." And they gotta bring all their fans and their wagons. We're just like, "Give me a blanket and a beer." Yeah, it's awesome.
That makes a lot of sense now.
It
It does. When
does.
you look at it
And
that
it's
way, it
still
makes
a
a lot of sense.
contact sport. Gotta love the contact sports as a boy mom, so
Yes,
pretty
absolutely.
cool. Yeah.
Alright, so being a boy mom,
Yeah.
um, let's dive into it. I guess we can start kinda general, and we can hone in as the conversation moves
Yes.
along.
Yes, absolutely.
But what are your major observations as being a boy mom, being a sideline mom? What
Yes.
things did you have to either teach yourself or, just what are the hurdles that you have to get over as a mama bear on the
Yes.
sideline?
So I love this topic, and it's something that, you know what I mean, isn't I guess it's you're kinda warned about it, but not so much
Mm,
because at the end of the day, we are most of us, especially with, athlete children, is that lioness in us. We wanna fight our children's battles. We want to make things easier for them. It's pretty natural if you're an athlete growing up, an elite athlete growing up, collegiate, Olympic like training,
mhm,
you may have a little bit of a different mindset, but the average day-to-day person
mhm,
that is getting into sports with their kids, like, it's pretty instinctual. Like, I
okay,
want things to go well. I don't want them to be discriminated against. I don't want them to fight with their friends. I don't wanna fight. I wanna be good with these parents. But, a lot of times, you know what I mean, we think we have to, step in constantly. And I think for me as a young mom too, it was just kind of like protect, protect, protect. And it's not always the case. We're raising resilient humans, right?
mhm,
And so the athletic side of it is extremely important to teach them some pretty big. lessons in life: communication, resilience, emotional regulation,
Mhm.
um, and understanding.
Emotional regulation, good word, I like that
It's a
term.
tough one. A lot of adults
Yeah,
can't do it anymore. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
we see it in the world constantly, right? Like, it's a problem, and so it's a really big opportunity as a parent to help them through those big things. I mean, everybody knows sports is gonna teach you big things. You're gonna feel failures, high emotions, you're gonna fight. If
Right,
you got contact sports, it's even worse, right? Like,
right, right.
um, you feel things are unfair. There's times where things are completely out of your control, and the coaches and the organizations are gonna make decisions that you don't agree with. You
Mm.
gotta deal with that. You can't have a victim mentality. And so as parents, we have to remember that, like, we have to be the strength and the backbone. I think, and that's tough because, like I said, and when we spoke a little bit before, deciding to come on and talk about it is like we sometimes we just want to pop off. We just want
That's
to pop
you
off.
ain't lying.
And
So,
you see it all the time in sports. You know what I mean? But
backtrack, let's go down memory lane. I'm kinda just gonna throw this heat at you, go down memory lane, alright? Let's go to your oldest, and let's go when you first got him involved in whatever team sport he was involved in, and that mama bear came out or wanted to come out. What happened? What was the incident that happened and you either unleashed or you thought about, "Yo, I'm about to unleash on somebody."
it's definitely, for the most part, gosh, a lot of times, unfortunately, it was in the stands with other parents.
Okay, talk to me. Like
Or
what?
whether
Like
it's
give me an example. Like
whether
give me an example that just jumps out. Like this lady said this. This guy did this. What happened?
I definitely, like, always hated people. Not hated, that's the wrong word, you know what I mean? Like, it's passionate, right? And
Hmm.
and at a certain point, we're like, "Okay, where are we at? Where are we yelling at coaches from the sideline?" The kids are hearing you yell at coach,
Yeah.
right? We're on the same team. And now
Right.
my son, the kids are staring at what's going on the sideline, right? Now you've
Right.
completely taken away from what we're all here for.
You
This
sure
game,
have.
these kids, what we're building here, you know? And so the emotional regulation starts with us. And so the
Yeah.
hardest part is definitely always dealing with other adults that aren't good at it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? First and foremost, as a parent, so irritating, you know what I mean? Um, you know, again, from there, it's times where it was just kind of like, my son needed more help than the other kid, like, even out of practice, like, my son's not doing that well, but the kid that shines and he's been playing longer than him, why are you giving him attention? He doesn't even need that much help. He's already really good. What about
Hmm.
Carter? What about Carter?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I have to learn how to just to understand that there's a method to their madness too. I'm not a coach. I don't run organizations. It's not what I'm here for.
Right.
So, I always loved, I heard this from great coaches, that I've met in different sports and different leagues and clubs and high school sports. I love that first and foremost, a lot of them have said it, the 24-hour rule.
Yeah.
If there's a discussion, if there's an incident, if there's something that you think needs to be addressed, give it 24 hours.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're mad or scared or worried, it still needs that 24 hours. You know what I mean? And so teaching those teen athletes the same thing is important too.
When those parents start to pop off, is there a maybe let's just say an alpha parent who can calm them? Like, yo, chill. Like, this is not what we should be doing in the stands. This is not. This is like you said. We're taking away from the kids. Like, chill out, bro. Like, let the coaches do their thing or let the refs do their thing. Like, is there an alpha that could kind of calm the storm at the time?
Um, I mean, that's a big part of it too, is understanding, like, with different levels and different organizations, that there is parent meetings, that there is good communication is the key to life, right? We
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Right.
alive. We wouldn't be able to teach each other things if we couldn't talk. We can talk without words.
Right.
And so I think having really strong organization, coaching, whoever is a part of that organization that brings the parents together too, is to also remind those parents, like, hey, kids see conflict. Kids see when
Mm-hmm.
there's competence, kids see where there's community, and that's where it's gonna thrive. Like, you guys, you know what I mean? Yes, the athletes are out here doing the work and we're supporting them and loving them and helping them grow, but reminding parents, like, "You guys, it matters so much." You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And so you don't have to be best friends by any means, but, like, there just has to be a level of respect from all the adults, but communication is gonna be the key to that no matter what, because people are who they are, right? Adults
Mhm,
are
mhm.
deep-rooted in who they are, and, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, in every different league, in every club, there's always been at least one person that I know. I hear that mom more than I hear anybody. I hear things I don't wanna hear from her more than anybody. But it's up to us to, you know what I mean? Again, take that 24 hours, then maybe go to coach and just be like, "Hey, can we get the parents together?" Because there's usually a lead mom or an assistant, you know what I mean? The top team mom, even
Yep.
again, in the biggest sports, there's, you know what I mean, board members and things along those lines. And it is important to just be like, "Hey, you guys, we have a really great thing going. We have some great kids that are coming together really well. Kinda need the parents to do the same thing. So how about that?" You know?
Has either one of your kids come to you after some incident happened on the sideline with the parents like, "Yo, what the hell was that, mom? Like, what were they screaming, yelling about?"
Man, we've heard, and not just that, we've heard about parents and grown men entering locker rooms and there's
Stop.
yes, physical altercations between a parent and a coach.
Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, those contact sports, it gets ugly, right? And it gets heated. You think you're right, you're trying to alpha, and we all know that's not true alpha male things. We want stoicism, right? The
Right.
greatest athletes in the world. So we all think our kid's the best and want our kid to be the best and elite. You need to take a step back and remember, again, we're raising resilient humans. The likelihood that they're going to be a collegiate athlete or a professional athlete is very slim. It's okay. You can strive for it and you can let your kid know that you absolutely can do that. But at the end of the day, the big lessons are important. How are you handling, again, your failures, your fights? And so now we're teaching them that you, as a parent, you get to enter that locker room and you get to threaten the coach and potentially have a
What?
that's crazy, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
bananas.
I mean, you know what I mean? So the consequences to your actions, same thing. So yeah, it's difficult, because we want to gosh, and again, like when games are rough or when there's a bad incident, we want to entitlement or blame shift or play the victim, and it's important that we don't do that. We still even that 24-hour rule with your child after an incident is just kind of like, "Hey, do you wanna talk, bud? So proud of you. Love watching you play. Makes my heart melt. You wanna talk? No? Let's turn the radio up. That's good." They can be silent in that car after something crazy happens, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
We have to
mhm.
teach them to, again, that emotional regulation is an important part for parents. Coaches have to master that. I can't imagine there's times where I've been, like, off that I'll talk to him the next day or at our private lessons, I was like, "Well, that was kinda rough, wasn't it?" And
Yeah.
he was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dude, how do you not go to these parents and be like, these coaches, a lot of men and women, what they have, what some of them have, when it comes to their patients, again, like I say stoicism is kind of the wrong word, but just letting things be what they are and understanding that situations get heated, especially with
Right.
teenagers. The older they get, the more heated the players are gonna get
Right.
and the parents are gonna get. Again, that mama bear instinct, there's a different biologically, it's real. And there's a difference between protecting your child and preparing them for life.
Right.
Right? And so we don't want again, we don't want that victim mentality. We don't want reactive, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? We want reflection, and I've met some coaches that I'll go to them a couple days later, and like I said, "You handled that really well. Oh, it's pretty awesome."
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have handled it so well. I don't know.
Yep. Yep. Because coaching is a thankless job, it's a
Woo!
thankless job, and that's why a lot of folks are running from it because of the parents, not the kids, it's the parents. I know, is the first child always eh, gets it different. Let's just say, now I'm not gonna say the worst, but gets it differently because as
You're learning.
parents, the first you're learning as a parent also, right? There's no blueprint and there's no instruction guide on how you're supposed to do this. My son has a totally different personality than I do. And how to communicate to him, I had to learn as he got older and to basically be where he was, kind of be where he was with his personality to get him to respond how I thought he should respond. Early on, it was not that. And it was just me being a young parent, not necessarily knowing the right way for him to do it
Yeah. I
and
know the
then
right way. You
learn.
should do it this way.
Right,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you kinda you learn as you go. So now with my youngest, I know to match that energy. Now I know to match that energy. I wish I would have learned to match that energy earlier for my oldest, but I know my youngest how to match that energy. And as she grows older, our conversations change before games and after
Yep.
games
Yeah.
because she's getting older. But I've learned that lesson from my firstborn. I learned
Okay.
that from my firstborn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess when those coaches, all right, because the sideline activity can be a bit much. Have you ever had a coach scold the sideline?
Oh, yeah. A great soccer coach. Um, like I said, these kids were young, but a few of them were pretty elite athletes at
Mhm.
that young. And that's why I said sometimes you could tell they're set apart, and it's not a jealousy thing. It's not a comparison game either. But you recognize, like, wow, their lifestyle is a little bit different. Their drive is a little
Yeah.
bit different at this age.
Yeah.
Even I think they were nine,
Yeah.
10 years old. This kid woke up at like 5 in the morning to. He was hardcore, but
Yeah.
it's always a beautiful thing to see. It's inspirational. But yes, the coach. Yep, middle of the game turned around and was like, "I'm the coach.
Mm.
I'm the coach." That's all he kept it like, he's like, because you have the parents that are like, "Go after the ball, get offside, don't go offside." You know what I mean? Like, we're sideline coaches, guilty, we all do it.
Yep.
Swing the bat, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, shoot the puck. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Soccer is one of those ones where it's very you can hear everything. Those kids hear almost everything. You know what I mean? So it also depends on the environment. But yeah, he turned around and he yelled pretty loud at all of the parents. I am the coach. I am coaching. What are you doing? And we all just kind of like, we looked around and we were like, oh my goodness.
So nobody no
Maybe it
so
was a
nobody's
tournament.
like, "He was in a
Nobody
tournament?"
challenged him. I'm pretty sure it was a tournament at Disney. We won, which is fantastic. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he recognized, and again, we love those coaches that are passionate enough to learn their kids and start to see little shifts in their actions during a
Yeah.
game that is like, they're confused. I'm pretty sure these parents are confusing the kids. They know my voice, right? But they trust their parents.
Right.
You're not the coach. And these kids trust you. Now you're going to shift to, like, again, method to the madness. There's got to be trust. There's got to be good communication. Because if there is something that you need to talk to coach about because you think you should do something different, then communicate it. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And same thing with kids, teaching them to communicate between each other parents and coach is important too. You're going to have awkward conversations. Again, part of raising a good human. You're going to have weird, awkward conversations. You're going to have ones that are hard to start. Let me rehearse it with you. Let me tell you how to start that conversation. I got you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But certainly, you know what I mean? It was just one of those things where parents just a few of them felt reprimanded, foot in the mouth. They realized later because coach did address it to the parents later after the games and things like that.
Right.
Like, listen, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to reprimand adults. He's
Right.
like, you guys trust me. Don't you trust me? You know what I mean? To do this
If you
game.
don't,
You
you
know
could
what I
take your
mean?
kid another place. You could take them to
That's
a whole
right.
another place if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And so again, he communicated it well. He waited, he took patience in that moment. He's heated, right? In that moment, you don't have a choice but to raise your voice. And that's why I said there is some moments where it's appropriate to raise your voice and to pop off in a respectful way, right? We're not cussing and screaming and getting violent. You know what I mean? But there's obviously certain times where no, you need to be stern in this moment when it's a real issue, and that's what coach had to do.
I talked to one of my previous guests, and she spoke on sideline chatter and how to avoid the sideline chatter. Basically, like those negative Nancy's that are on the sideline and kind of creating this environment
Yes.
to go against the coach and or the program.
Yes.
Are you one of those people that avoids the chatter?
Absolutely, and that's funny, I have my little side notes from what we were gonna talk about, and that was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
one because, avoiding comparison, gossip, and entitlement traps.
Okay.
Um, Even growing up, I remember my brother was a baseball player, and he was pretty elite, he was hoping to go collegiate and things like that, and I remember my growing up and my mom, like, talking later about the one-upping moms and the
Okay.
gossiping moms, and, "Did you hear
Okay.
about this?" And you know what I mean? So, again, when there's competition between parents, it's felt. When there's tension between parents, it's felt, but when there is a collaboration, teams will thrive. They will thrive, and you see it. And again, you don't have to be best friends, but it's unfortunate when we have to. again, people are who they are. There's adults that don't self-regulate, that victim you know what I mean, that like to blame other people, that don't practice their own type of stoicism and respect and kindness inside. And so it's unfortunately going to reflect. And again,
Mm,
it's it's just the time for us to be able to remove ourselves from it if there can't be a healthy conversation, to
right.
ask parents not to do that. Or just again, it's just every now and then just to powwow, parent powwows, man, like, hey, we want to be best friends. I
Yeah,
was yes, I was good at staying away from it, but I've also like I said, I'm pretty sensitive person to energies and to other people in rooms, and sometimes I'm not confrontational. I don't like confrontation. I
mhm,
love good communication. I'm not like a strong leadership role type of woman either, so, like, I'm just you know what I mean? Like, I
right.
don't do it, so I've always been really good at just kinda stepping back, and if people want to come to me and kind of,
Mhm,
like, let some things out, I always try to play the role um, of resolution. You know
okay,
what I mean? I don't there's a if there's not a resolution, then there's no reason to even be talking about it.
right, be
Is there a
solution
real
based.
person that has a resolution? Then let's get to it. What are you
Right,
upset about? What are you mad that coach did? You know?
right,
I'm on your side. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. You're trying to advocate for yourself and the team and the other parents. So I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
mhm, mhm,
Is there a resolution that you think we can get to? You know what I mean? Because then let's go to coach. I got you. You know what I mean? Because again, I'm like VP. I'm a good vice president. I'm not necessarily a great leader, but I'm a good vice president. I'm the communicator. I hear the problems. Yes, I want to fix that. That's great.
yeah,
I'm a fixer.
yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
nurturer. But me, I like to keep peace. I like to keep peace.
yes,
I'm a peaceful person. I mean,
yes,
again, that's why you'll find me you'll find me kind of hiding during the hockey games because I am loud and I am
mhm,
like so that's why I have to, like, separate myself from the other parents because 'cause be like, "Dang, Sarah's crazy." You know what I mean? But I keep my crazy at bay. I try and go in my little corner, but, you can be passionate about something without being mean, ugly, disrespectful, you know what I
right,
mean? So, that's all. I guess every opportunity that I've ever gotten to communicate with other people is always just to say, "Hey, we need to have grace. We need to try and have perspective." And we need to remember that, like, we cannot protect our kids from everything. We can't. It's impossible. And we want to
yep.
so bad. I think that's the hardest part about being a parent in general, just in life, because you're not just teaching them about athletics and sports, you're teaching them life.
That parent camaraderie is a big deal. I
It's
think
tough.
that may be another topic for another time because,
It's tough.
um the parents are they're the role models, and how you act is going to be how that team acts, right? And if the kids themselves hear certain things that you're talking about as adults, it's going to spill over into that team.
Absolutely.
We my daughter had a different experience than my son did coming up playing youth athletics. So, and he's in college now, but my daughter's lacrosse team, as she was coming up, the core of that team stayed together for years, and they were really good for years because the core of those parents stuck together, and they're like, "Yo,
Right.
we're on the same mission." And as they got older, people went in different directions, just different interests and stuff like that. Some people went in a
Absolutely.
different direction,
Valid.
but still to this day, there are about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of the girls from when she started 5 years ago who are all on the same team. And the
Right.
and the and the parents have always been relatively close during the lacrosse season and solution based. Like if there's an issue, all right, well, how should we address this
Yeah.
with our leadership? And
Yeah.
our coaching staff
Yeah.
to make them aware to we can solve the problem instead of, hey, we're pissed off about this and we just kick rocks and go someplace else. And
Right.
that's what that parent that village is important for the success of a team.
And that's it. And that's why a lot of, I mean, the old cliches, old sayings, again, in life and in athletics is the same. It takes a village. We're here for each other. I would protect any kid on that team the way I would protect my son. You know what I mean? I want him, you know what I mean? I don't, and again, that's why it's a dance. It's a delicate dance. Again, trying not to solve those problems, but at the same time, like it does take a village. We have to um, learn and grow again because you know what I mean. Like it's our first time parenting. It's our first time on this at this age. I've never been this age before either. I've never been a parent of an 18-year-old before either. You know what I mean? Yeah, the parent thing is important, and that's why I again, there's as the kids grow and the level of, play changes in the organizations, like, I'm assuming it happens,
Mhm.
but parents and kids not even being allowed to play anymore. Like, because of a parent's actions or inactions
Absolutely.
or you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's so now you are potentially changing your child's life because of your actions and your
A
words.
abs
And that
absolutely.
is I mean, I can't imagine having to live with that,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely, and
So,
it happens.
yeah. So again,
Get
communication, the key to life.
what's your last words? We're at our time mark for our microcast. If you or did we miss anything that you wanted to hit on? Did we miss
I don't
anything?
think so. Like I said, it's a
Okay.
pretty broad spectrum when it comes
Yeah.
to, the parenting thing, but I think the biggest one, as a first like you said, different with first-time parenting or kids down the road, it's a hard thing that people don't really prepare you for when it comes to wanting to fix things because it comes from a place of love, but loving is not removing struggle, you know what I mean? It's definitely about, lessons that stay all through life, and we want to, pause before we step in,
This is true.
and so it's just yeah, so at the end of the day, like I said, we're not just raising athletes,
That's
we're
true.
raising resilient humans, so
Well, for Sarah, for myself, I appreciate you. We will
thank
check
you.
everybody out on the next episode. This has been fun, Miss Rivas.
Been great, always good to see you.
Yes, ma'am.